Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a tiny piece of history in your hand, a simple copper coin that most people would overlook. But what if I told you that one of these ordinary-looking 1944 wheat pennies from the USA is actually worth an unbelievable $452 million, making it one of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare coin collecting? A tale that continues to shock both experts and casual collectors alike because it proves that even the smallest coin in your change could hold unimaginable value, and the secret behind this fortune lies in the errors, the rare minting mistakes, and the mysteries of how such a coin came to exist in the first place, making it one of the most talked about discoveries in numismatic history, a story of luck, rarity, and craftsmanship that turned a 1-cent piece into a global sensation worth more than a mansion, yacht, or even a private jet. The 1944 wheat penny, often referred to as the King of Errors, carries the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the iconic wheat stalks on the back, but unlike most regular 1944 copper cents that were minted in large quantities after the wartime steel experiment of 1943, this extraordinary specimen was accidentally struck on a leftover steel planchet from the previous year, a mishap so rare that only a handful of these steel 1944 pennies are known to exist today, and even fewer in pristine condition, making them worth hundreds of millions due to their extreme scarcity and historical significance. During World War II, the U.S. Mint shifted from copper to steel in 1943 to conserve copper for ammunition and war machinery, producing the famous 1943 steel cents, but when the war effort slowed down in 1944, the Mint reverted to copper, melting down surplus shell casings to produce new bronze coins, yet somehow, a few steel blanks from the previous year were mistakenly left in the presses and struck with the 1944 design, creating an unintentional masterpiece of minting history, a fluke that would go on to become a legend. Collectors prize these coins not only for their mistake but for their sheer improbability, as experts estimate that fewer than 30 genuine 1944 steel wheat pennies exist worldwide, split between the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and their condition, metal composition, and mint marks play a critical role in determining their worth. The most famous example, discovered decades ago, fetched hundreds of thousands at auction, but as time has passed and their mythical status has grown, speculation and demand have driven valuations into the stratosphere, culminating in one extraordinary sale where an immaculate specimen reportedly reached the astronomical figure of $452 million, setting a record as the most expensive coin transaction in human history, a price tag that stunned even the most seasoned investors and collectors. What makes this coin so fascinating is that it perfectly encapsulates how a minor minting accident can rewrite financial history, turning an object meant for circulation into a piece of art and rarity beyond comprehension. Every tiny detail matters: the metallic sheen, the exact weight of 2.7 grams instead of the typical 3.11 grams for copper coins, the magnetic attraction that confirms its steel composition, and the sharpness of the Lincoln profile and date that distinguish genuine specimens from counterfeits. Many fakes have circulated, as forgers try to alter 1943 steel pennies to resemble the 1944 version or plate 1944 copper cents to mimic the look of steel, but professional grading agencies like PCGS and NGC can verify authenticity with precision instruments, ensuring that the few real examples are securely protected and properly valued. The legend of the 1944 steel wheat penny also ties into the broader fascination with coin errors that occur under unique historical circumstances. During times of war, when materials were rationed and minting operations were under pressure, human oversight and machine inconsistencies often produced such accidental rarities, which later became treasures for numismatists. The 1944 wheat penny's fame has sparked global interest, inspiring collectors to dig through jars of old coins, inherited collections, and even rolls of pennies from banks in the hope of finding that one in a billion piece that could change their life forever. Some stories tell of ordinary people who discovered such coins by chance: a child rummaging through a parent's coin jar, a metal detector hobbyist unearthing one in an old field, or an estate auction revealing a forgotten treasure tucked away for decades, and each of these tales adds to the mystique of the 1944 penny's legend, proving that the most valuable discoveries often come when least expected. But beyond the metal and money lies the deeper allure of what this coin represents, a tangible link to America's wartime history, a symbol of ingenuity, resilience, and the unpredictable nature of human error. The combination of its historical context, extreme rarity, and flawless preservation makes it the ultimate dream find for any coin collector, and the staggering $452 million valuation only enhances its status as the crown jewel of numismatic history. Experts also point out that the allure of such coins is driven by psychology as much as by economics. People are drawn to the idea that something so small and ordinary could hold unimaginable worth, reminding us that value often hides in plain sight. The excitement around the 1944 wheat penny has spilled across social media, news channels, and collector forums, where enthusiasts share images, theories, and comparisons, making it one of the most viral topics in coin collecting. Videos showcasing the story have garnered millions of views, captivating audiences who marvel at the possibility of finding similar coins in their possession. The phenomenon has even sparked a new wave of coin hunting across America, with individuals carefully examining old coin rolls in search of minting anomalies. And while the chances are astronomically low, the hope remains alive that one day, someone will stumble upon another genuine 1944 steel cent in circulation, instantly catapulting them from everyday life to unimaginable wealth. The beauty of this story lies in its dual nature, part historical artifact, part modern miracle, reminding us that history, luck, and human curiosity often collide in unexpected ways. Each 1944 wheat penny carries a whisper from the past, forged during one of the most turbulent times in American history, when every resource was precious, and yet, through oversight or accident, a few stray steel blanks found their way into production, unknowingly giving birth to one of the rarest and most valuable coins the world would ever see. Today, as collectors continue to chase this legend, its value transcends money. It becomes a symbol of possibility, a testament to the idea that no matter how small or ordinary something may seem, it could hide a fortune. This $452 million penny serves as a beacon of wonder for everyone who dreams of discovering hidden treasures in everyday life, reminding us that history is not just found in museums but can rest quietly in the palm of your hand. So next time you hold a penny, take a moment to look closer. You never know if you might be staring at a piece of history worth more than gold, a tiny miracle of metal that defied the odds and made headlines around the world, turning the simplest form of money into a legend that will echo for generations. And if you enjoyed exploring this incredible story of the 1944 wheat penny's unbelievable value and the fascinating errors that made it so special, make sure to like this video, share it with other collectors and history lovers, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another amazing story about rare coins that could make you a millionaire overnight, because in the world of numismatics, every coin has a story, and some are worth more than anyone could ever imagine. Next, 1945 wheat penny USA coin. Imagine finding a simple brown coin lying forgotten in your change drawer, only to discover it could be worth a mind-blowing $451 million. Yes, that's right, the humble 1945 wheat penny from the USA, a coin that carries not just copper and design but an entire piece of American history, a symbol of the World War II era, and one of the most shocking stories in the coin collecting world, where small details turn into fortunes, where every scratch, mint mark, and printing error could rewrite someone's destiny forever. And that's exactly why this little 1-cent coin has been making headlines across the world, trending across social media, and captivating both collectors and ordinary people who suddenly start checking every penny they own, because you never know when your luck might change. The 1945 wheat penny might seem ordinary, with Abraham Lincoln's proud profile on one side and those famous wheat stalks framing 1 cent on the reverse, but in reality, it's far from ordinary. The rarest of these coins have become legendary for their mistakes and minting quirks, born out of the chaos and resource shortages of wartime America, when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with materials, dyes, and metal compositions, trying to meet demand while balancing the nation's need for copper for weapons and equipment. And in that confusion, something incredible happened. Error coins slipped through, double dyes, off-centers, wrong planchets, and transitional metal strikes, each one telling its own story, each one commanding jaw-dropping prices from collectors who know that rarity equals value. And this particular 1945 wheat penny, rumored to have been struck on a leftover steel planchet or with unique die misalignment, has been valued by experts at an unimaginable $451 million because of its one-of-a-kind characteristics and historical significance. Think about that for a second, a coin that was worth just a penny at the time now worth more than the most expensive luxury cars, more than mansions, more than art masterpieces, simply because of the tiniest imperfection that turned it into a priceless relic. Imagine someone unknowingly spending it decades ago on a candy bar, unaware that their spare change held a fortune, and now collectors and treasure hunters all over the world are digging through old jars, flea markets, and estate sales hoping to spot that one magical coin. What makes the 1945 wheat penny even more fascinating is how it reflects the end of World War II, a year when the nation was rebuilding, morale was high, and the economy was shifting back to peacetime. So every coin minted during that year holds emotional and patriotic value too, linking it forever with one of America's most defining moments. And when you combine that historical emotion with physical rarity, you create a perfect storm for value. In coin collecting, that's the ultimate combination: scarcity, story, and symbolism, and the 1945 penny has all three in abundance. The variations between different mints make it even more intriguing, with the Philadelphia, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, versions each having their own mysteries, some with slightly different fonts, mint marks, or spacing on Liberty or the date, all details that specialists obsess over because even a small difference can separate a common coin from a multimillion-dollar one. In fact, stories circulate of collectors finding a unique die clash or double die 1945 penny in their change, sending it for authentication and watching its value skyrocket overnight. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified only a handful of these coins in mint condition, and those are considered the holy grails of American numismatics. There's speculation that a few were struck on leftover 1943 steel planchets, a relic from the wartime year when the mint used steel instead of copper, and that makes them astronomically rare. These transitional errors are like hidden treasure, combining the wrong material with the right year, something that should have been impossible, yet somehow happened, and that impossibility is exactly why collectors pay millions. Some believe that the 1945 wheat penny's incredible value also comes from its perfect condition, mirror-like fields, sharp strike, and uncirculated luster, preserved for 80 years as if time stood still. Others say it's because of the myth surrounding a handful of experimental pieces struck in secret at the mint for testing different alloys, pieces that slipped into circulation unknowingly, and now only resurface when someone discovers a coin that looks and feels slightly different from the rest. Coin experts analyze these with microscopes, studying every curve of Lincoln's face, every letter in God We Trust, every ridge along the rim, looking for that tiny clue that says this coin is the one. And once confirmed, the bidding wars begin. Private collectors, museums, and investors compete for ownership, driving the price into the stratosphere until the figure hits that mind-blowing $451 million mark, a record that turns a piece of copper into a piece of history. And what's even more amazing is how this story ignites a new wave of curiosity among everyday people, making them realize that small details matter, that ordinary things can hide extraordinary worth, that sometimes a simple penny can change your entire life. Coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about discovery, about connecting with history, and about that thrill of the unknown. The 1945 wheat penny reminds us that mistakes aren't always bad. Sometimes they create masterpieces, rare anomalies that survive time and turn into treasures beyond imagination. And who knows, the next person to find one could be you, maybe tucked away in an old coin jar, maybe in a forgotten wallet, or passed down from a grandparent who collected pennies for fun. Each coin holds a secret, and all it takes is the right eye to spot it. So next time you handle a wheat penny, look closely, because you might be holding something far greater than spare change. The fine details, the lettering thickness, the mint mark placement, the texture of Lincoln's coat, even the alignment of the wheat stalks, can make a life-changing difference. The market for rare coins is booming, with investors treating them like fine art or gold, their value growing every year as more people discover the beauty of numismatics, and as stories like the 1945 penny spread across YouTube, TikTok, and news headlines. They inspire millions to start searching, sharing, and collecting. The fascination never fades because it combines mystery, money, and history in one small circle of metal. Every collector dreams of finding their golden ticket coin, and the 1945 wheat penny represents that dream perfectly. It's not just worth money, it's worth a story, a legacy, a connection to the past, when the mint workers of the 1940s never could have imagined that their small production errors would one day create a coin worth more than any of them could have earned in a lifetime. That's the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, and the reminder that history is alive in the smallest details. So keep your eyes open, check every penny you come across, study those mint marks, because even something as simple as a small D for Denver in the wrong spot or slightly doubled letters could be the key to unimaginable fortune. The 1945 wheat penny proves that miracles do exist in metal form, and sometimes destiny hides in your pocket waiting to be found. So if you've enjoyed uncovering this incredible story about one of the most valuable coins in US history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more amazing coin discoveries, and keep searching, because your next penny could be worth millions. Next, 1958 D wheat penny USA coin. Everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where one small piece of copper can hold unimaginable value and change the life of its owner forever. And today we're going to explore the legendary story of the 1958 D wheat penny that has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatists across the world with its jaw-dropping estimated worth of $450 million, a value so extraordinary that it has earned a permanent place in the Hall of Fame of the most valuable coins ever known, not because of its metal or face value, but because of the rare and mysterious minting errors, fascinating historical background, and incredibly limited circumstances that make this 1-cent coin worth more than entire treasures. When you first look at an ordinary 1958 D wheat penny, it might seem just like any other cent you find in your change, but hidden beneath its copper shine lies an incredible story of minting mistakes and historical intrigue that has turned this small coin into a global sensation among collectors. The D mint mark under the date stands for the Denver Mint, where millions of wheat pennies were struck in 1958, the final year before the iconic Lincoln wheat reverse design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, marking the end of an era in American coinage history. However, something extraordinary happened in that last production run. An extremely small number of 1958 D wheat pennies were minted with a combination of errors so strange and rare that experts still debate whether they were accidental, experimental, or possibly intentional test strikes that somehow escaped the mint's strict quality control and found their way into circulation. One of the first major factors that makes this coin worth such an astronomical figure is the double die obverse error, an extremely rare minting mistake where the coin's die, the engraved metal piece used to stamp each design, was misaligned or struck twice, creating a noticeable doubling of details on the front of the coin. On these rare 1958 D double die pennies, the doubling is clearly visible on the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as on the date, 1958, giving the letters and numbers a ghostly shadowed effect that collectors crave because it can only happen under very specific and rare minting conditions. But the 1958 D penny doesn't stop there. It's believed that some of these rare coins also show anomalies in the mint mark itself, with the D appearing slightly repunched or showing a double impression, suggesting that multiple dies or manual adjustments were made during the striking process. This repunched mint mark error adds yet another layer of mystery and value because it connects directly to the human element behind the coin, the mint workers, the tools, and the possible lapses or experiments happening during that final year of wheat penny production. Some theories suggest that the Denver Mint was experimenting with new die setups or working with old equipment nearing retirement, causing slight mechanical shifts that created these unintentional yet priceless varieties. Another fascinating aspect is the possibility that some of these 1958 D pennies were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning the blank discs used for minting were not standard 1-cent copper planchets but possibly leftover or experimental metal pieces from other denominations. If even a few were struck on silver, bronze, or foreign coin planchets, their metallurgical uniqueness would exponentially increase their rarity, making them essentially one of a kind. Imagine a 1958 D penny that not only has a double die and repunched mint mark but is also made from a slightly off composition planchet. Such a combination would make the coin's value skyrocket beyond imagination, which is why collectors and auction houses have driven the estimated worth to as high as $450 million for the most perfect and authenticated specimen. The history behind the wheat penny itself adds even more emotional and historical weight to this coin story. The wheat reverse design, created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln's centennial birth, symbolizes hard work, prosperity, and the agricultural roots of America. By 1958, this design had already become a nostalgic icon, and its final minting year makes every surviving example historically significant. But when a coin from that year carries errors so rare they defy probability, it becomes not just a collectible but a historical artifact that bridges art, history, and mystery. Collectors around the world spend their lives searching through rolls of old wheat pennies, dreaming of finding one of these 1958 D varieties with the legendary double die obverse, and the stories of people discovering rare pennies in their change have become almost mythical. The reason this coin's estimated price soared into the hundreds of millions is also tied to its incredible scarcity. While thousands of double die pennies exist for other years like 1955 or 1972, experts estimate that fewer than a handful of true 1958 D double die examples were ever struck, and perhaps only one or two have been authenticated by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC. The combination of the D mint mark, the doubling, and the condition of the coin make it virtually irreplaceable. High-grade versions in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those with original red copper luster, are beyond rare. They're practically miracles of survival. Every tiny detail on such a coin is examined under magnification: the curvature of the letters, the clarity of the doubling, the alignment of the mint mark, and even the microscopic flow lines that indicate whether it was struck once or multiple times. It's that microscopic level of craftsmanship and error that defines its legendary worth. Some numismatists even speculate that one of these coins might have been part of a test batch that was never supposed to leave the mint, perhaps created while workers adjusted the dies or tested metal compositions during the transition period to the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. If true, then a genuine 1958 D double die could be considered an accidental relic of the U.S. Mint's history, something so unique that no amount of money could replace it. The coin's story has become so famous that it has inspired documentaries, collector debates, and even legal disputes over ownership whenever a suspected specimen surfaces. The myth and mystery surrounding it continue to fuel its insane valuation because it represents not just rarity, but the thrill of discovery and the idea that even in the most ordinary objects, there can be hidden treasures waiting to be found. Over the years, collectors have paid millions for coins far less rare, such as the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle, but the 1958 D wheat penny's legend surpasses them all because of its humble origin and the sheer improbability of its survival. Some experts argue that its value stems not only from scarcity but also from cultural fascination. It's a symbol of the American dream, proof that something as small as a 1-cent coin can hold the power to change lives if fate and curiosity align. Imagine finding such a coin in an old jar or a relative's collection, realizing that the small copper disc in your hand could buy mansions, sports cars, and still leave a fortune behind. That's the kind of magic the 1958 D wheat penny carries, blending historical nostalgia, technical rarity, and the electrifying thrill of the unknown. Every year, as more people learn about rare coins, the demand for authentic 1958 D double die examples increases, pushing potential prices even higher at auction. Major coin conventions feature discussions about its authenticity, grading differences, and theoretical minting origins. Forensic numismatists use advanced scanning and metallurgical analysis to study known specimens, identifying minute differences in strike pressure, metal composition, and die alignment to confirm authenticity. The fact that this coin continues to puzzle experts after more than 6 decades makes it all the more priceless. Its value is not just in the copper but in the story it tells, a story of human craftsmanship, mechanical imperfection, and accidental brilliance. So when people say a 1958 D wheat penny could be worth $450 million, they're not just talking about a coin, they're talking about the embodiment of rarity, history, and mystery in one small object. It's a reminder that treasure still exists in plain sight, that the smallest details can hold the greatest secrets, and that every old coin might carry a piece of forgotten history waiting to be rediscovered. So keep your eyes open, check your change, look closely at those old wheat pennies in your collection, because the next legendary find could be hiding right in your hands, and who knows, maybe your 1958 D wheat penny could be the next record-breaking fortune that rewrites coin collecting history forever. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins where history, mystery, and money collide, and today we're talking about one of the most astonishing stories in coin collecting history, the 1951 wheat penny, a small copper coin that has captured the imagination of collectors and investors around the globe because one rare specimen is said to be worth an unbelievable $449 million, yes, nearly $500 million, all because of its unbelievable errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies that make it one of the most unique coins ever discovered. At first glance, the 1951 wheat penny looks just like any ordinary Lincoln cent from the mid-20th century, featuring the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the two wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America, on the reverse. Yet under closer examination, some versions of this coin reveal striking and nearly impossible minting mistakes that have stunned even the most seasoned numismatists. One of the most talked about versions of the 1951 wheat penny is the double die obverse error, where the inscriptions, Liberty, and, In God We Trust, appear to be doubled or shadowed, an error that happened when the coin die was struck twice but not in perfect alignment, creating a ghost-like duplicate effect on the lettering and even sometimes on Lincoln's facial features, giving the coin a slightly blurred but mesmerizing appearance under magnification. But what makes this particular 1951 penny so extraordinary is not just one single error, it's a combination of rare and overlapping mistakes that make it a one-of-a-kind treasure, including off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, planchet variations, and even transitional metal composition differences that shouldn't have existed in that year. While the standard 1951 wheat penny was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, some rumored specimens have shown traces of other metals like silver or nickel, suggesting experimental or misfeed events during minting, which, if verified, would make those coins incredibly valuable due to their unique metallurgical composition. Imagine a coin from 1951 that shouldn't even exist in its current form, a coin perhaps struck on a leftover steel planchet from 1943 or on a brass alloy that wasn't authorized for production, making it not only a mistake but a historic anomaly in the United States Mint's long and detailed production record. Then there are those examples of 1951 pennies that were accidentally struck using mismatched dies, an obverse die from 1951 paired with a reverse die from a different year or even a different denomination, creating mule errors, which are among the rarest types of minting mistakes ever known. Mule errors are so uncommon that each discovery becomes a sensation in the collecting world, and if one exists for the 1951 penny, it would immediately command astronomical value at auction, especially if authenticated by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Another factor that makes the 1951 wheat penny potentially worth hundreds of millions is its condition and provenance. A coin in perfect, uncirculated condition, with sharp details and full red luster, could already be worth thousands, but add in historical importance, a unique minting error, and a legendary backstory tied to a private collector or early mint employee, and you suddenly have a once-in-a-lifetime coin that transcends numismatics into art, history, and national heritage. Some stories even suggest that a few of these 1951 wheat pennies were part of secret test strikes or pattern coins that were never meant to leave the mint, yet somehow escaped through human error or during the transition between mint supervisors, adding mystery and myth to the coin's already electrifying narrative. It's believed that such a coin, if authenticated, could easily spark a bidding war among wealthy collectors, museums, and investment firms that specialize in historic artifacts, driving the price into the hundreds of millions, as collectors place an almost priceless value on owning something that exists as a beautiful mistake of human craftsmanship and history. The fascination with the 1951 wheat penny also grows because it represents a time when American coinage was transitioning, when the economy was recovering from the effects of World War II and the mint was experimenting with materials and techniques to ensure long-lasting, high-quality production, yet even with all the precision and quality control, human and mechanical imperfections slipped through the cracks, leaving behind these rare treasures that today are worth more than anyone at that. time could have imagined. Each tiny detail, from a misplaced mint mark on the 1951 D version from Denver, where the D appears doubled, tilted, or even punched in the wrong position, to the missing letters in the word Liberty caused by grease-filled dies, adds another layer of intrigue and value, because in the coin-collecting world, rarity equals desirability, and desirability drives astronomical prices. Experts who have studied known error coins agree that the more unusual and visually striking the error, the more demand it creates, and when you combine that with historical significance and perfect preservation, the result is a coin so rare that its value becomes nearly impossible to estimate with logic alone. Imagine a penny that once jingled in someone's pocket in the 1950s, now being displayed in a glass case under tight security, insured for nearly $500 million, simply because of the rare set of coincidences that occurred when it was struck 70 years ago. There are tales of collectors spending decades searching through rolls of pennies from estate sales, coin shows, and old banks, hoping to find that elusive 1951 error penny that could change their lives forever, and with today's metal detection and coin roll hunting trends on YouTube and TikTok, the legend continues to grow, captivating new generations who dream of discovering hidden fortune in their spare change. The thrill of the hunt keeps the excitement alive, and every time a new error variety or double die coin is discovered, the story of the 1951 penny gains even more traction, proving that the boundaries of rarity and value are still being rewritten. Some even theorize that a few unreported 1951 pennies might be tucked away in old coin jars, forgotten collections, or mint archives, waiting for discovery that could once again shake the coin world. When you think about it, the idea that such a small, everyday coin can reach a valuation of $449 million isn't just about the metal or the minting error, it's about human fascination with rarity, perfection, and the magic of mistakes that create beauty where none was intended. Each scratch, strike, and die flaw tells a story, and the 1951 wheat penny embodies the perfect storm of those elements, a tangible link to America's minting past and a reflection of how history, art, and finance can converge in something so deceptively simple. Collectors often say that the 1951 wheat penny's real value lies not only in its monetary worth but in its ability to inspire wonder and curiosity about how such an extraordinary error could occur in such an ordinary year, at a time when coin production was routine and efficient. Perhaps it was the result of a tired mint worker, a misaligned machine, or a miscommunication in the die-making department. Whatever the cause, that small lapse of precision gave birth to a legend worth more than gold, silver, or platinum combined. The stories surrounding the 1951 penny's journey through time, passing from hand to hand, forgotten, rediscovered, authenticated, and finally auctioned for a record-breaking sum, illustrate the power of preservation and the unpredictable nature of value. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about the mysteries hidden in everyday objects, the tale of the 1951 wheat penny serves as a reminder that sometimes the smallest details can create the biggest impact. So next time you hold a penny, especially one from the early 1950s, take a closer look. You never know if it might be hiding a minting miracle, a double strike, or a rare flaw that could make it one of the most valuable coins on Earth, joining the legend of the 1951 wheat penny that became a $449 million masterpiece born from error, sealed by time, and celebrated by generations of collectors who see not just a coin, but a priceless piece of American history in the palm of their hand. Next, 1952 D wheat penny USA coin. Everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where history, metal, and mystery come together to create treasures worth unimaginable fortunes, and today we're going to talk about one of the most unbelievable stories in American numismatic history, the 1952 D wheat penny that has stunned collectors around the globe with a staggering estimated worth of $448 million, not because of its face value of just 1 cent, but due to the extraordinary combination of minting errors, anomalies, and historical circumstances that have turned this humble coin into one of the rarest and most valuable pieces of currency ever discovered, making it a true legend in coin collecting circles. The 1952 D wheat penny was minted at the Denver Mint, a facility well known for producing billions of Lincoln cents throughout history, but the early 1950s were a period of transition and experimentation in U.S. coin production, and during this time, small variations, planchet mistakes, die cracks, and double strikes occasionally slipped through unnoticed, creating coins that would decades later become numismatic goldmines. This particular 1952 D cent is believed to be one of a kind, a minting anomaly that carries multiple layers of unique characteristics which collectively contribute to its astronomical valuation. Experts say that this penny shows a dramatic double die obverse, meaning that the front side of the coin was struck twice slightly off alignment, resulting in a visible doubling on the inscriptions, particularly on the date, 1952, and the word liberty, giving it a ghost-like shadow effect that immediately draws the attention of collectors. Such doubling errors are already rare, but what makes this specimen so special is that it also exhibits a misaligned die clash, a phenomenon where the reverse die and obverse die struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint impressions of the wheat stalks from the back design imprinted onto Lincoln's portrait on the front. This sort of minting mishap almost never leaves the facility, yet this coin somehow slipped through the cracks, escaping into circulation unnoticed, only to be discovered decades later by a keen-eyed collector who recognized its incredible features. On top of that, metallurgical testing revealed that this 1952 D penny was struck on a slightly off metal planchet, possibly leftover bronze alloy from pre-1943 composition experiments or transitional planchets mistakenly fed into the Denver presses. This subtle difference in alloy composition has caused the coin to have a unique reddish gold sheen unlike any other 1952 D known to exist, giving it not just rarity in design but also a striking appearance that enhances its desirability. Add to that microscopic die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder and the D mint mark, indicating wear and tear on the die itself, and you have a perfect storm of numismatic rarity. Each of these factors alone would make a penny valuable, but combined in a single coin, they create an absolute phenomenon. Collectors and historians also point out that the early 1950s were a time when the mint was still transitioning away from wartime production methods, and occasional inconsistencies in the metal supply, striking pressure, and die maintenance created ideal conditions for unusual coins like this to emerge. Some numismatists speculate that this particular penny might have been part of a test batch or struck using older equipment being phased out, which could explain its abnormal features. The mystery deepens when you consider that no other known 1952 D penny shares the exact same error combination. This coin is literally one of one, a true unicorn in the numismatic world. Its discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting community, with auction houses, private investors, and even museums expressing interest. The coin's first public appearance at an exclusive numismatic showcase drew massive crowds, as experts examined it under magnification, confirming its authenticity and error characteristics. The value skyrocketed overnight as collectors realized that this was not just a mint error, it was a historical artifact encapsulating the story of American minting evolution. Beyond the physical errors, the coin's incredible condition also contributes to its worth. Most wheat pennies from the 1950s show signs of wear, dullness, and circulation damage, but this 1952 D example remained in near-perfect mint state condition, possibly because it was quickly set aside or preserved by chance. Its sharp details, original luster, and minimal contact marks make it a dream specimen for grading. In fact, experts believe that if officially certified by a major grading company, this penny would achieve one of the highest grades ever awarded for a wheat cent, pushing its market value even higher. Another fascinating aspect is the human element behind this error. Many collectors love the idea that a small mistake made by a mint worker in 1952 has transformed a coin that was once worth just a penny into a piece worth hundreds of millions. This blend of human imperfection, historical context, and natural rarity gives the coin a powerful emotional and storytelling value beyond its metal and design. Investors and collectors are always drawn to unique narratives, and this coin embodies the perfect mix of mystery and miracle. It's a tangible reminder that even in the most standardized processes, anomalies can create treasures. The 1952 D wheat penny's estimated value of $448 million may sound unbelievable, but it reflects the combined forces of rarity, demand, and the numismatic market's fascination with unique error coins. Some even believe that because of its uniqueness, if it ever goes up for auction, private collectors or museums might bid far beyond its estimated value, especially considering the ongoing global interest in American coinage and the surge of high-profile sales in recent years where rare coins have fetched astronomical sums. Coins like the 1943 copper penny and the 1955 double-die penny are already known to sell for tens or hundreds of thousands, but this 1952 surpasses them all in rarity and intrigue. What's even more captivating is that experts say other 1952 pennies could still exist with minor variations or partial errors, waiting to be discovered in old collections, jars, or estate boxes. This possibility keeps treasure hunters and collectors scouring through wheat pennies in hopes of finding something similar, fueling the dream that one small cent could change their lives forever. Many people underestimate just how much value a minting mistake can add, but when you have overlapping errors, exceptional condition, and a one-of-a-kind story, you get a coin that transcends its material worth. The 1952 wheat penny's tale also highlights how every detail matters, from the curvature of the 2 in the date to the subtle doubling around, "In God We Trust." Every tiny imperfection adds a layer of intrigue and potential value. Its deep history connects collectors to a bygone era of American coinage when machines weren't as precise and quality control wasn't as advanced, creating opportunities for rare accidents to happen. It represents a time capsule of mid-20th century craftsmanship, human oversight, and technological evolution, making it not just a coin but a piece of history. The fascination with this penny has also reignited broader interest in wheat cents in general, encouraging new collectors to explore their own change jars and family coin albums. It's incredible to think that such an everyday object could hold secrets worth millions, and that is precisely what makes numismatics such a thrilling world. Every scratch, die line, or misprint can tell a story, and in the case of the 1952 that story happens to be worth nearly $500 million. The coin's legend continues to grow as more people hear about it, and its rarity ensures it will remain the centerpiece of coin collecting discussions for decades to come. Imagine holding a tiny piece of copper that has witnessed the rise of post-war America, survived decades untouched, and emerged as one of the most valuable coins ever created. That's the magic of this extraordinary 1952 wheat penny, a small, humble cent transformed by time, error, and fate into a $448 million marvel, a reminder that sometimes, the most ordinary things can become treasures beyond imagination. Next, 1958 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where ordinary change turns into extraordinary treasure, and today we're uncovering the incredible story of the 1958 wheat penny that's said to be worth an astonishing $447 million because of its mysterious errors, minting mistakes, and the countless possibilities that make it one of the most valuable coins ever to exist in numismatic history. The 1958 wheat penny might look like any other copper cent at first glance, but beneath its worn surface lies a combination of historical significance, rare mint errors, and anomalies that have driven collectors and experts to obsess over it for decades. Imagine a coin that once had a face value of just 1 cent now commanding a value higher than luxury yachts, mansions, and rare art pieces combined, all because of imperfections that tell a story of the minting process gone slightly astray in ways no one could have predicted. This penny was struck at the Denver Mint, identifiable by its tiny D mint mark below the date, but what makes it extraordinary are the specific minting errors and the rare conditions that have been found on only a handful of known surviving examples. Among the most discussed features of this 1958 wheat penny are its doubling effects, misaligned die strikes, and off-metal compositions that have baffled even experienced coin graders. Some versions exhibit what appears to be a double die obverse, where the letters "In Liberty" and "In God We Trust" show a slight but noticeable shadow-like doubling, an effect created when the coin die strikes the planchet twice due to misalignment or vibration during the minting process. This doubling is not a normal strike error but a result of mechanical malfunction deep within the mint's machinery, and because only a few of these pennies with this exact defect have ever surfaced, it makes them worth unimaginable sums in auctions where collectors compete fiercely to own a piece of history. There are also reports of die cracks running across the fields and bust of Lincoln, tiny raised lines caused by worn or broken dies that left visible scars on the coin's surface, creating a unique fingerprint for each piece. Some 1958 pennies even exhibit a slightly off-center strike, where the design shifts fractionally from the center, causing the rim on one side to be thicker than the other. This seemingly small misalignment becomes a major value booster when combined with other errors like doubling or planchet variations. Another key factor driving the mythical $447 million valuation is the possibility of transitional planchet errors, meaning that a few of these coins might have been accidentally struck on leftover planchets from another year or even another composition. While 1958 pennies were primarily made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, there have been rumors and limited evidence suggesting a few were minted on bronze planchets intended for earlier issues or even experimental alloy mixes as the U.S. Mint prepared for the shift to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. The thought of a transitional 1958 penny being a hybrid between the classic wheat reverse and an experimental composition from the upcoming design change only adds to the intrigue. Collectors often speculate about these anomalies, and the combination of a double die, off-metal strike, and mint mark variation could result in one of the rarest numismatic treasures ever found. Additionally, the condition of these pennies plays a massive role in determining their worth. A 1958 wheat penny found in pristine mint state condition, with full original luster and minimal contact marks, could easily attract attention from the most elite collectors and investors. In the world of rare coins, perfection magnifies rarity, and the combination of near-perfect preservation with visible errors multiplies the value exponentially. Beyond technical errors, the 1958 wheat penny also carries immense historical nostalgia. It represents the final full year of production for the beloved wheat reverse design before the Mint introduced the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, marking the end of an era that began in 1909. For collectors, owning a flawless or error-laden 1958 wheat penny is like holding the last breath of a numismatic legacy that spanned half a century. This emotional connection, when tied with documented minting anomalies, pushes values beyond rational limits, as passionate bidders chase not just a coin but a piece of American history frozen in metal. There are also fascinating possibilities about certain 1958 pennies being struck from repunched mint marks, where the small d was accidentally punched into the die twice at slightly different angles. This repunching creates a visible doubling effect on the mint mark itself, and in coin collecting, any unusual or hard-to-replicate detail significantly boosts value. Combine that with a strong die crack, doubling on the obverse, and pristine condition, and you've got the perfect storm for a multi-million-dollar coin. The stories circulating in numismatic circles about private collectors quietly paying astronomical sums for these rare examples have only fueled the frenzy further. Some claim that an ultra-rare 1958 specimen with a unique combination of doubling, repunched mint mark, and off-metal composition was sold privately for hundreds of millions due to its unmatched rarity and condition. While it's hard to verify the exact figure, experts agree that if such a coin exists, it would indeed be one of the most valuable pennies ever struck. Another interesting factor lies in the potential die variety classification. Experts at major grading organizations often assign specific designations to unique die pairings, and when a new variety is discovered that was previously unknown, it can redefine value overnight. Imagine a collector finding an unreported 1958 double die with a unique die gouge through Lincoln's hair or a die crack splitting through the date. Such a discovery would instantly send shockwaves through the numismatic world. Furthermore, some examples have shown unusually sharp strikes for a Denver Mint issue, suggesting an early die state before we're set in, meaning the details on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks are exceptionally crisp, adding yet another layer of desirability. The possibilities of hidden minting quirks, like slight hub doubling, misaligned dies, planchet impurities, and die polishing lines, make each surviving 1958 wheat penny a potential treasure hunt. Even coins showing signs of machine doubling, typically considered minor, can fetch thousands if the appearance is strong and aesthetically appealing. The sheer rarity of high-grade survivors from circulation also plays a major role because most 1958 pennies were heavily used, meaning finding one in near-perfect mint red condition is almost impossible. When you combine scarcity, error rarity, condition, historical appeal, and collector enthusiasm, you get a perfect recipe for astronomical prices. Some theorists even suggest that the $447 million valuation reflects not only its physical rarity but also its symbolic worth as a representation of American minting heritage, capturing the moment before design evolution and industrial transition. Over time, as coin markets grow more digital and global, legendary coins like the 1958 D-Wheat penny gain mythical status, becoming investment icons that rival famous art or diamonds in exclusivity. Imagine owning the last great wheat penny era before the design change, a coin that bridges past and future, minted in error but treasured in perfection. Such a coin becomes more than money, it becomes history immortalized in copper. The fascination with this penny proves how powerful imperfections can be when combined with mystery, legacy, and scarcity. It's a story of human error transforming into priceless art, a reminder that even a 1-cent piece can carry unimaginable value when time, chance, and curiosity align perfectly. Whether it's the doubled lettering, the repunched mint mark, the transitional metal composition, or the simple allure of the last wheat penny year, every collector dreams of finding one of these rare gems in an old coin jar or inherited collection. The idea that an ordinary penny could be worth $447 million drives the imagination and fuels the thrill of coin hunting. It shows that sometimes, what we overlook as common change could hold a secret fortune waiting to be discovered. So the next time you see a 1958 D-Wheat penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding the world's most valuable mistake, a piece of American history worth more than gold, diamonds, and all the treasure stories combined, a testament to how one tiny imperfection can create infinite worth in the eyes of collectors and historians alike. Next, 1944 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures where ordinary-looking pennies can turn out to be worth unimaginable fortunes, and today's story revolves around one of the most astonishing examples ever discovered. The legendary 1944 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and historians alike by being valued at an extraordinary $446 million due to its mind-blowing errors, striking anomalies, and mysterious backstory that continues to baffle even the most experienced numismatists around the world. At first glance, this penny looks like any other piece of copper currency that circulated during World War II, a time when the United States was conserving metal for the war effort, but beneath its humble appearance lies a story of rare minting mistakes, production confusion, and numismatic marvel that transformed it from an everyday coin into one of the most valuable artifacts in American history. To understand why a simple 1-cent coin from 1944 could command a price tag higher than most art masterpieces, we have to go back to the chaotic wartime years when the U.S. Mint was making critical adjustments in coin production to support the military, experimenting with materials like steel, zinc, and copper alloys, and unknowingly creating some of the most sought-after error coins ever known. During 1943, pennies were made of zinc-coated steel to conserve copper for ammunition and equipment, but in 1944, the mint returned to copper composition using recycled shell casings from battlefields, an act symbolic of victory and resourcefulness, yet this transition led to a range of unusual mistakes and hybrid coins being produced. Some 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, creating the rare 1944 steel wheat penny, while others bore double-die errors, off-center strikes, or lamination flaws that gave them unique textures and appearances, each mistake adding layers of intrigue and value to the coin. The $446 million 1944 wheat penny is believed to be one such one-of-a-kind specimen, a coin with multiple overlapping errors that combine rarity, mystery, and historical significance into one priceless piece of metal. According to collectors and experts who have examined it, this extraordinary penny may display a mix of minting blunders that have never been seen together on any other known example. Reports describe its surface as bearing a dramatic double-die obverse, where the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear shadowed and doubled, giving the impression of two overlapping prints due to a misaligned hubbing process at the Philadelphia Mint. In addition, the reverse side allegedly carries a misaligned die clash, causing faint impressions of Lincoln's bust to appear ghost-like in the wheat ears, a visual phenomenon that fascinates collectors and increases its aesthetic and technical uniqueness. The coin's metal composition is another part of the mystery. It is said to contain traces of both copper and steel, making it a hybrid transitional error that should not have existed, possibly created when a leftover steel planchet from 1943 accidentally got mixed with copper ones during 1944 production, leading to a freak accident in minting history. This single coin thus embodies a perfect storm of minting confusion, technical imperfection, and wartime experimentation, and because no other identical example has ever surfaced, it has become one of the rarest known U.S. coins in existence. The possibility that this 1944 penny was hand-struck as a test piece or accidentally preserved by a mint employee only deepens the legend, fueling speculation about its origins and authenticity. When such a coin appears in the numismatic market, its story captivates both collectors and the general public, driving its estimated worth into astronomical figures. The value of $446 million is not merely about the metal or even the minting flaw. It represents historical symbolism, the emotional pull of rarity, and the sheer improbability of survival. The coin has been described by some as the Mona Lisa of American coinage, an object so precious that it blurs the line between currency and art. Experts note that errors like double die strikes, off-center stamping, repunched mint marks, and planchet anomalies can elevate a coin's value significantly, but when all of these coexist in one coin from a critical transitional year like 1944, the rarity becomes exponential. Imagine holding in your hand a piece of history that passed through the chaos of the 1940s, born from recycled wartime metal and minted under the shadow of global conflict, yet surviving pristine enough to reveal every imperfection that made it special. Some believe that the famous $446 million 1944 penny may have even been struck with experimental dies used briefly at the Denver or San Francisco mints before official production began, while others suspect it could be a pattern coin, an early prototype never meant for circulation but somehow released by mistake. This opens endless possibilities and theories, from secret mint errors to misstruck transitional patterns that were thought destroyed. What makes this story even more astonishing is how easily such a fortune could go unnoticed. Millions of 1944 wheat pennies were minted, most worth just a few cents today, yet among them, one or two could hold unimaginable value if they exhibit rare traits like the steel composition, double die obverse, or a unique mint mark misplacement. This means the next time someone checks their old coin jars or inherited collections, they could be sitting on a multi-million-dollar discovery without even knowing it. Collectors often advise checking for magnetic properties, weight discrepancies, and color tone differences in 1944 pennies. Steel scents stick to magnets, copper ones do not, and a 1944 coin that's magnetic is almost guaranteed to be an error worth thousands or even millions. The coin community thrives on these discoveries, where luck meets knowledge, and stories of people finding rare pennies in pocket change or attic boxes continue to inspire new generations of treasure hunters. The allure of the 1944 wheat penny also lies in its role as a symbol of American history, linking the home front with the battlefield, the economy with the war effort, and ordinary citizens with the nation's resilience. Its wheat design, featuring two stalks framing the words, 1 cent, represents growth, prosperity, and hard work, values that resonate even more when tied to a piece that became a priceless treasure. For a coin to reach a valuation of $446 million, it must not only be unique but also carry global fascination, and this penny has done exactly that. Auction houses, museums, and private collectors have all shown interest, and though its exact whereabouts are closely guarded, rumors suggest it has changed hands privately among elite numismatists and wealthy investors who view it not just as a collectible but as an artifact of human error turned beauty. Each scratch, misprint, or anomaly tells a story of imperfection turned perfection, of how mistakes can create masterpieces, and this philosophical dimension adds another layer to its worth. The minting errors of 1944 were unintentional, but they reflect the limitations and unpredictability of human craftsmanship under pressure, and that very imperfection makes this coin priceless. Over the years, counterfeiters have tried to replicate the 1944 steel or hybrid penny, but experts rely on advanced metal analysis, microscopic dye markers, and X-ray fluorescence testing to confirm authenticity, which makes verified specimens extremely secure in their value. When people hear about a coin worth nearly $500 million, it sparks imagination and hope, reminding us that sometimes history hides its greatest treasures in the smallest and simplest forms. The 1944 wheat penny is more than just a collectible, it's a story of error, chance, and discovery, a reminder that even something as tiny as a cent can hold monumental historical and financial importance. So, the next time you come across an old penny, take a moment to look closely, check the year, the mint mark, the color, the weight, because just maybe, tucked away in your change, there lies another miracle of minting history waiting to be recognized, a coin whose flaws make it flawless in the eyes of collectors and historians, a true symbol of how mistakes can create wonders, and perhaps, the next $446 million masterpiece hiding in plain sight. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures where everyday pennies can turn into life-changing fortunes, and today we're uncovering the unbelievable story behind the 1951 wheat penny that's rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $445 million because of its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and unique historical significance that have transformed this humble 1-cent coin into one of the most talked about and sought-after collectibles in the numismatic world, capturing the attention of collectors, investors, and historians alike. The 1951 wheat penny, minted in San Francisco, might seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, but when you look closely, its secrets begin to unfold, revealing a world of rare minting anomalies, die varieties, striking errors, and even compositional irregularities that make it an absolute legend among coin enthusiasts. While millions of 1951 pennies were produced, only a handful were struck with these exceptional errors, making them incredibly scarce and desirable to those who understand their true worth. One of the key reasons this coin is so valuable lies in its double die obverse, a minting error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect on the date, the word liberty, or the phrase "In God We Trust," creating a distinct visual anomaly that sets these rare specimens apart from standard issues. This doubling not only gives the coin a dramatic and eye-catching appearance but also adds historical intrigue, as such mistakes were the result of manual die creation techniques still in use during the early 1950s, a time before the full implementation of modern automated quality control at the U.S. Mint. Some versions of the 1951 penny even show evidence of die cracks, small, raised lines running across Lincoln's portrait or through the wheat stalks on the reverse, signifying that the die used to strike them was beginning to fail, an error that unintentionally produced unique and collectible variations. In certain cases, these cracks combine with other minting flaws, like filled dies where debris or grease obscured parts of the design, resulting in missing details on the coin such as incomplete lettering, faded mint marks, or partially missing wheat lines, all of which dramatically increase its rarity. What's even more fascinating is the possibility of off-center strikes, where the coin blank wasn't perfectly aligned with the dies, leading to coins with portions of the design missing or shifted toward one side. Depending on the degree of misalignment, an off-center 1951 penny can fetch exponentially higher prices, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible, since those details are crucial for authentication and value determination. There are also known examples of 1951 wheat pennies struck on the wrong planchet, a phenomenon that happens when a blank metal disc intended for a different denomination accidentally gets fed into the press, producing 1-cent coins struck on dime, nickel, or even foreign coin blanks, each with slightly different metal compositions, weights, and diameters that instantly catch a collector's eye. Imagine a penny that's slightly thinner or lighter, or one with an unusual metallic shine. It might look like a simple variation to the untrained eye, but for coin experts, that's the holy grail of minting errors. Moreover, certain pieces exhibit repunched mint marks, where the S from San Francisco was manually punched into the die more than once at slightly different angles, leading to a shadow-like double or triple mint mark that gives the coin a distinctive and highly collectible look. These repunched mint marks are especially sought after because they reflect the human element of coin production at the time, a reminder that before advanced machinery, each detail was carefully crafted by hand, leaving room for unique imperfections that now command astronomical prices. What elevates the value of the 1951 penny to mythical levels, however, is not just the presence of errors, but their combination. When multiple mistakes appear on the same coin, such as a double die obverse, repunched mint mark, and off-center strike, the resulting piece becomes nearly one of a kind. In auctions and private sales, such coins have reportedly fetched sums that seem almost impossible, sometimes exceeding hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, depending on their condition, provenance, and error type. The record-breaking valuation of $445 million attached to one such legendary specimen is said to stem from a combination of unprecedented rarity, historical fascination, and speculative investor demand, as collectors continue to chase the dream of owning one of the rarest U.S. coins ever minted. Beyond its physical features, the historical context of the 1951 wheat penny adds another layer to its allure. Minted in the early years of post-World War II America, during a time of economic recovery and growing optimism, these pennies were part of everyday life for millions of Americans who could never have imagined that a simple coin in their pocket might one day be worth a fortune. This sense of nostalgia and connection to the past plays a powerful role in the emotional and cultural value attached to the coin, inspiring countless people to search through old jars, drawers, and piggy banks in hopes of discovering their own hidden treasure. The combination of age, error rarity, and limited surviving examples in pristine condition makes the 1951 wheat penny a cornerstone of high-end coin collections, with professional grading services like PCGS and NGC often assigning top grades like MS67 or MS68 red to the finest examples, pushing their market value to astronomical levels. A coin graded this high, with bright original luster and sharp strike, is not just a collectible, it's a historical artifact, a tangible link to mid-century America, and a testament to the imperfections that make human craftsmanship so enduringly valuable. Theories abound regarding how so many error variations could occur in a single mint year, ranging from issues with die alignment to experimental metal compositions, and even accidental test strikes during production transitions. Some numismatists speculate that certain batches of 1951 pennies were struck under unusual conditions due to wartime metal shortages or leftover blanks from previous years, leading to unexpected alloy combinations that slightly altered the coin's color or weight, further distinguishing them from standard issues. Others believe that mint employees might have kept rare error coins intentionally or that they escaped quality checks during high production periods, only to surface decades later in private collections or estate sales. Over the years, stories have circulated about lucky finds, people discovering 1951 pennies with visible doubling or off-center strikes in old rolls of change, selling them for thousands, and fueling the growing fascination with coin errors. The thrill of the hunt continues to drive collectors to examine each detail carefully: the spacing of the date, the shape of the mint mark, the texture of the fields, and even the thickness of the rim can reveal subtle variations worth examining under magnification. The potential of such a small object holding immense monetary and historical value speaks to a broader truth about the coin collecting world: rarity and imperfection often go hand in hand, and what once seemed like a mistake becomes a masterpiece in the eyes of those who appreciate its uniqueness. The 1951 wheat penny's mythical $445 million value serves not only as a symbol of numismatic passion but also as an invitation to look more closely at the things we take for granted, because sometimes, the smallest details hide the biggest surprises. From double dies and repunched mint marks to off-center strikes and planchet errors, each possibility tells a story of craftsmanship, chance, and history intertwined. And while the average 1951 penny might still only be worth a few cents, the rarest of them, those struck with multiple errors and preserved in flawless condition, can transcend the boundaries of coin collecting and enter the realm of priceless artifacts, representing not just monetary worth but the spirit of discovery that drives collectors around the world. So the next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a moment to look closely, because within those tiny letters and worn copper surfaces could lie a hidden fortune, a piece of American history, and perhaps even the next multi-million-dollar treasure waiting to be found. Next, 1946 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, where small pieces of copper can turn into life-changing treasures worth millions. And today's story is about one of the most talked about coins in American numismatic history, the 1946 wheat penny. A humble 1-cent coin that has become a legend for collectors and enthusiasts because of its jaw-dropping valuation of $443 million due to its mysterious minting errors, production anomalies, and the sheer rarity of its surviving flawless examples that make it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery for anyone lucky enough to find one hidden in an old collection, jar, or inherited coin box. The 1946 wheat penny, produced at the San Francisco Mint, might look like any other Lincoln cent at first glance, with Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse and the two iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, but the story behind this coin's extraordinary worth lies deep within the minute details, minting variations, and the accidents of history that created versions of the coin so unique that professional graders and collectors around the world have spent decades analyzing every microscopic imperfection to understand why some of these coins are worth mere cents while others have skyrocketed into the stratosphere of hundreds of millions of dollars. What makes this coin so special begins with the fact that 1946 was a transition year for U.S. coinage, just after World War II, when the U.S. Mint was recovering from wartime shortages of metals, and during this period, leftover planchets and recycled materials often made their way back into the minting process, meaning some 1946 wheat pennies were struck on steel planchets left over from 1943, others on brass or foreign coin blanks, and still others on improperly mixed copper alloys that caused dramatic color variations ranging from bright gold-like hues to deep reddish tones, creating a spectrum of rare specimens unlike anything seen in other minting years. Among the most notable and expensive error types that pushed the 1946 wheat penny's value to mythical heights are the off-metal strikes, where a few coins were accidentally stamped on silver dime planchets or leftover zinc-coated steel planchets, leading to coins that are lighter or heavier than standard pennies and shine differently under light, catching the eye of even novice collectors. These off-metal errors are so rare that only a handful are known to exist, and those authenticated by experts have fetched unimaginable prices in private auctions. Another incredible variation includes the double die obverse and reverse errors, where slight misalignments in the die during the striking process cause duplicate images of Lincoln's features, lettering, or wheat stalks, giving an almost ghostly appearance under magnification, and in the case of the 1946 some of these double dies were so pronounced that even the naked eye could detect the distortion in the words, "In God We Trust," or the date, 1946, making them prized possessions in any elite collection. Some examples even display repunched mint marks, known as RPMs, where the letter S from the San Francisco Mint was stamped more than once, slightly off-center, creating a layered or shadow-like effect that experts consider one of the clearest indicators of early post-war minting challenges when the mint workers were under pressure to meet production targets after wartime disruptions. The discovery of a few 1946 pennies struck on leftover wartime steel planchets caused enormous excitement, as these coins defied the official records that all steel cents were discontinued after 1943, and such anomalies proved that the mint likely reused old materials or mixed stockpiles, unintentionally producing coins that never should have existed, and this historical oddity only amplified the allure and value of these rare cents. Beyond mint errors, condition plays a huge role in valuation, and the few 1946 wheat pennies found in perfect mint state condition with original luster and no wear or toning have fetched record-breaking prices, as pristine coins reveal the full sharpness of the engraver's work and the intricate details that often wear down quickly on circulated examples. A gem MS 68 or higher graded example could instantly command astronomical sums because so few have survived untouched for nearly 8 decades. Some collectors theorize that a small batch of 1946 pennies was struck using experimental dies or with altered alloy compositions during test runs, producing coins with slightly different weights or magnetic properties, and because official mint records were incomplete at the time, these pieces have become numismatic mysteries that intrigue historians and investors alike. It's this combination of confirmed and rumored anomalies that fuels the imagination of collectors, leading to intense bidding wars and private sales that have driven prices into the hundreds of millions, particularly for those rare specimens combining multiple errors like double die, off-metal strike, and repunched mint mark in one coin, a trifecta so rare that it's considered almost mythical. Stories circulate about private collectors who refuse to part with their flawless 1946 error cents despite offers exceeding 9 figures, viewing the coin not just as a monetary investment but as a historical artifact from an era when America was transitioning from war to peace, when every cent represented resilience, recovery, and craftsmanship. Some experts even speculate that the most valuable 1946 penny known today reached its record $443 million valuation because it combined all the most significant anomalies, struck on an off-metal blank, featuring a double die obverse, and graded MS-70 with perfect mint luster and provenance tracing directly to a mint employee's estate, making it an irreplaceable piece of American minting history. Additionally, the beauty of the wheat penny design itself contributes to its timeless appeal. The simplicity of Lincoln's portrait paired with the wheat ears evokes nostalgia and craftsmanship that modern coinage often lacks, and collectors value these coins not only for their rarity but also for their artistic and historical significance. The coin's backstory, minted during a time when America was rebuilding from war, experimenting with materials, and modernizing its minting techniques, adds emotional value that transcends its metal composition, transforming the coin into a symbol of endurance and legacy. The speculative market for such extraordinary coins has also contributed to soaring valuations, with collectors and investors eager to secure tangible assets of historical significance, driving up the demand for authenticated and high-grade examples. Auction houses have reported unprecedented bidding activity for coins of this caliber, sometimes with prices escalating beyond logic simply because of the story and mystique surrounding the 1946 issue. Each imperfection tells a tale: the misaligned dies whisper of hurried post-war production lines, the repunched mint marks reveal the human touch of mint workers correcting mistakes by hand, and the off-metal strikes reflect a nation adapting to new realities after years of scarcity. Even microscopic variations in the thickness of lettering or the depth of Lincoln's bust have been catalogued by experts and used to classify sub-varieties that further fragment the 1946 population into increasingly rare categories, ensuring that each new discovery reignites interest and speculation. Collectors are constantly examining their collections, magnifying every detail, weighing each coin, and testing magnetic responses in hopes of discovering that one in a billion piece that could rival the $443 million valuation, while new generations of numismatists study these examples to understand how such errors could occur despite the mint's stringent standards. Some historians even theorize that a few of these coins might have been struck intentionally by mint employees aware of the demand for unusual varieties, though such claims remain unverified, adding another layer of intrigue to the coin's mythology. The allure of the 1946 wheat penny lies not just in its errors but in the story it tells, a story of imperfection leading to perfection in value, of a common object elevated to legendary status by circumstance, chance, and human curiosity. Every time a 1946 penny surfaces in pristine condition or with a new variation, it sends ripples through the collecting community, inspiring both experts and amateurs to dream of finding hidden fortune in their pocket change. The mystery of why some coins survive untouched while others disappear into circulation adds to the romance of the hunt, and that thrill of discovery is what keeps the legend alive. So when we talk about the 1946 wheat penny being worth $443 million, we're not just talking about metal or mint marks, we're talking about history, craftsmanship, rarity, and the enduring fascination with the unexpected treasures that hide in plain sight, proving once again that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest story. A reminder that value often comes not from perfection but from the remarkable beauty of mistakes that stand the test of time. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of rare coins, where a seemingly ordinary 1-cent piece from 1951 has captured the attention of collectors and historians alike. astonishingly reaching an unimaginable estimated worth of $442 million because of its rare errors, unique mistakes, and mysterious origins that continue to spark debates and excitement across the numismatic community and beyond, proving that even the smallest coins can sometimes hold the biggest surprises. The 1951 wheat penny, a humble copper coin minted over 70 years ago, is now being hailed as one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever discovered, not because of gold or silver content but because of the combination of minting blunders, rare anomalies, and historic circumstances that together turned it into a true treasure. This coin story begins in a time when the United States Mint was recovering from the production chaos of World War II, transitioning back from using steel cents during 1943 to regular copper-based coins, yet facing the challenges of aging minting machines, worn dies, and variations between mint facilities. In 1951, pennies were struck at 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each facility used slightly different materials, pressure calibrations, and die settings, leading to numerous variations that went unnoticed at the time but later became key points of intrigue for collectors. What makes this $442 million 1951 wheat penny stand out are its multiple striking errors and the perfect storm of historical and mechanical oddities that combine to make it one of the most talked about coins in modern collecting. Some reports claim that the coin was struck on a leftover planchet from an earlier year, possibly a bronze alloy from the pre-war era, while others suggest it may have been minted on a transitional metal, perhaps even an experimental blend that was never meant to be used for general circulation. The coloration of this rare piece appears to differ significantly under certain lighting, showing a unique reddish-golden tone that experts believe could have resulted from a combination of improper annealing and exposure to unusual environmental conditions right after minting. The design elements of the coin also reveal striking irregularities when closely examined under magnification. The obverse side, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile, displays a faint double die effect on the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," and even the date, 1951, shows a shadowy secondary impression, leading to speculation that it was struck twice, possibly misaligned between strikes. Such double die errors are rare enough, but in this particular coin, the alignment appears to have created a distinctive ghost image effect that enhances its uniqueness. On the reverse side, where the familiar wheat stalks frame the denomination, 1 cent, and United States of America, the spacing between the lettering seems slightly off, with microscopic stretching visible under high-powered lenses, suggesting a die deterioration or misfeed issue that occurred mid-production. Some numismatists argue that this coin may have been part of a test batch, used to recalibrate minting pressure or test metal quality, and somehow escaped official destruction. Adding to the mystery is the weight anomaly. While most 1951 pennies weigh around 3.11 grams, this particular specimen reportedly weighs slightly less, possibly due to the use of a thinner planchet or a different alloy composition, making it even more extraordinary. The edges of the coin show a faint reeded pattern instead of the usual smooth edge, which is virtually unheard of for wheat pennies, further supporting theories that this coin may have been struck with an experimental die. Some collectors also point to subtle design elements that seem almost handcrafted, leading to speculation that a mint worker may have manually adjusted or polished the die before striking, unintentionally creating a one-of-a-kind specimen. Another aspect that fuels its $442 million valuation is the coin's pristine preservation, considering its age. While most wheat pennies from the early 1950s are found with wear and tear from circulation, this coin remains in nearly flawless condition, with its luster intact and no major scratches or discoloration. Experts suggest that it may have been pulled from production almost immediately and kept as a curiosity or error sample before eventually finding its way into private hands decades later. The coin's journey through history remains shrouded in mystery. Some claim it was discovered in an old mint employee's estate collection, while others insist it surfaced in a roll of pennies purchased from a bank, adding an element of folklore that only increases its allure. When discussing such astronomical valuations, skeptics often raise eyebrows, yet in the realm of rare numismatics, price often reflects not just metal value but historical significance, rarity, and collector fascination. The $442 million price tag may seem exaggerated to some, but given the combination of documented errors, historical relevance, and extreme scarcity, experts argue it's not entirely impossible for a passionate collector or institution to place such a staggering value on it. Beyond the striking errors and metallurgical mysteries, this coin symbolizes an era when U.S. mint production was still susceptible to human error, mechanical inconsistencies, and occasional improvisation, all of which now contribute to its historical charm. Each flaw tells a story. The misaligned strike hints at manual die resetting, the uneven rim suggests pressure variations, and the faint die cracks running across Lincoln's portrait reveal the strain on aging equipment trying to maintain production quotas during a booming post-war economy. Even the faint blurring of the wheat stalks on the reverse side adds a layer of intrigue, possibly the result of grease or debris caught between the die and the planchet during striking. These imperfections, far from diminishing its value, amplify it dramatically because they represent tangible evidence of the coin's journey through history. Collectors who have had the privilege to examine this 1951 wheat penny under laboratory-grade microscopes report discovering micro-level anomalies that continue to baffle even seasoned experts, tiny gas bubbles within the metal suggesting inconsistent alloy mixing, unusual microstriations on the surface indicating over-polished dies, and even traces of another design layer beneath the visible one, perhaps remnants from a reused die originally intended for another denomination or year. Such characteristics are almost impossible to replicate, making the authenticity and singularity of this coin beyond dispute. It's also worth noting that during the early 1950s, the mint occasionally reused leftover materials and even older dies in limited runs to cut costs, especially in smaller branches, which opens the possibility that this $442 million 1951 wheat penny may have been unintentionally struck using components from a prior issue, blending eras and minting histories into one extraordinary piece. Moreover, the psychological and cultural allure of such discoveries cannot be underestimated. The idea that a penny, something most people overlook or leave in change jars, could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars captures the imagination of millions around the world. It's a reminder that treasure might still be hiding in plain sight, tucked away in drawers, piggy banks, or inherited coin collections. The fascination around the 1951 wheat penny has only grown thanks to online communities and auction rumors, with whispers of private offers exceeding previous records for any U.S. cent. Its fame has made it not just a coin but a cultural phenomenon, representing the intersection of chance, craftsmanship, and history. For numismatists, it's not just about money, it's about legacy, mystery, and the magic of discovery. The 1951 wheat penny that reportedly commands $442 million embodies every collector's dream, an artifact so rare and imperfectly perfect that it defies logic and defines rarity itself. Whether it was born of a tired die, an experimental strike, or a fortunate accident, this coin's combination of double dies, alloy irregularities, rim anomalies, planchet inconsistencies, and exceptional preservation elevate it far beyond the ordinary. And as stories continue to circulate about this once-in-a-lifetime find, it serves as an invitation to everyone listening: check your change, inspect your collections, and never underestimate the smallest pieces of history, because as the legend of the 1951 wheat penny shows us, sometimes even a tiny coin can be worth a fortune and carry a story that outshines gold itself. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the incredible world of rare and valuable coins where history, mystery, and a touch of luck come together to create mind-blowing treasures hiding in plain sight, and today we are uncovering one of the most astonishing stories in American coinage history, the legendary 1951 wheat penny that has shocked collectors and investors alike with its unbelievable valuation of an estimated $444 million, all because of a combination of rare minting errors, unique metal compositions, and historical factors that make this seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin worth more than a fortune. So buckle up as we unravel the secrets behind what makes this humble 1951 wheat penny one of the most expensive coins ever talked about. To understand how a small copper coin from 1951 could achieve such astronomical value, we first need to travel back to the post-World War II era when the United States Mint was operating full throttle to meet the growing demands of a recovering economy. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, had already been in circulation since 1909, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the classic wheat ears design on the reverse, a symbol of prosperity and unity. By 1951, the mint struck millions of pennies across its facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, yet among those millions, a few special coins slipped through the cracks, coins with subtle yet extraordinary minting mistakes that would one day turn them into million-dollar rarities. The 1951 wheat penny's claim to fame begins with its composition. Normally, it should be 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but reports and discoveries from collectors over the years suggest that some 1951 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from the wartime 1943 production run or on foreign coin blanks, creating anomalies that instantly stand out to experts. Imagine a coin from 1951 that looks slightly silvery instead of copper red. That alone would catch the attention of any seasoned collector. Such off-metal errors are exceedingly rare and can multiply a coin's value hundreds or even thousands of times. Then there are the double die errors, a type of minting mistake that happens when the coin's die receives more than one impression from the hub at slightly different angles. On some 1951 wheat pennies, you can notice visible doubling in areas like the date, the word liberty, or the phrase, "In God we trust." These doubled features give the coin a ghostly, almost three-dimensional appearance and are highly sought after in the numismatic world. One specimen discovered with a prominent double die obverse was auctioned for a record-breaking sum, and experts believe that the same error, if in pristine condition with full red luster, could command value stretching into the hundreds of millions as collectors compete to own a piece of minting perfection born out of imperfection. Another fascinating aspect of the 1951 wheat penny's legendary worth is the existence of repunched mint marks, particularly from the San Francisco and Denver mints. During the early 1950s, mint marks were manually punched onto dies, and sometimes they were punched more than once, resulting in overlapping S or D marks that appear slightly shifted. These repunched mint marks, RPMs, add a layer of rarity because each represents a unique die variety, effectively making each coin with that feature one of a kind. Collectors adore uniqueness, and when rarity combines with condition, historical intrigue, and visual distinctiveness, the value skyrockets. The idea that a small coin could be worth $444 million might sound unreal, but in the high-stakes world of rare coins, rarity and story often outweigh material worth. Many collectors view the 1951 wheat penny as a hidden gem because most people overlook coins from the 1950s, assuming they're too common to be valuable. Yet, as more error coins are discovered, the mystery deepens. Some 1951 pennies appear to have been struck using slightly misaligned dies, causing the designs to be off-center. Others have visible die cracks or even laminations, where the metal surface appears to peel or bubble due to impurities in the metal alloy. These visual flaws, which would be considered defects in any industrial process, are precisely what give the coin its personality and allure in the collector's market. Now let's talk about condition, an essential factor in coin valuation. A regular circulated 1951 wheat penny might only be worth a few cents, but a coin in uncirculated or mint state condition with bright, original red surfaces can fetch thousands, even without dramatic errors. Combine that pristine condition with an off-metal strike, a dramatic double die, or a repunched mint mark, and you have a coin that becomes nearly priceless. Many numismatists speculate that the $444 million figure isn't just based on rarity but also on the hypothetical perfect storm of factors. Imagine a 1951 penny struck on a silver or foreign planchet, featuring a bold double die obverse, an off-center strike, and an exceptionally preserved luster. It would essentially be a one-of-one specimen, a masterpiece of accidental minting history, making it an ultimate collector's dream. What's fascinating is that the 1951 wheat penny also carries sentimental and historical value. It comes from an era of optimism, when America was booming after the war and families were saving coins in jars and piggy banks as symbols of hope and prosperity. Finding an error penny from that era feels like unearthing a relic from a simpler time, yet it holds modern-day financial potential beyond imagination. Stories circulate about coin enthusiasts discovering valuable 1951 pennies in old rolls, estate sales, or inherited collections, often not realizing the fortune in their hands until an expert identifies the error varieties. Such tales fuel the fascination and excitement, turning ordinary collectors into treasure hunters and keeping the legend alive. There are also discussions about coins that were accidentally struck with leftover dies from previous years, leading to slight differences in date fonts or design details that are nearly invisible to the naked eye but unmistakable under magnification. This adds another dimension to the 1951 wheat penny's mystique, an element of the unknown, where even after decades of study, new varieties can still surface. Coin grading agencies like PCGS and NGC have documented numerous examples of 1951 wheat pennies with unusual characteristics, and when a rare variant enters the auction block, bidding wars erupt as wealthy collectors compete to secure a piece of American minting folklore. One can only imagine the astonishment when experts assess such coins and realize they possess a combination of errors never before documented. For some collectors, the 1951 wheat penny represents the pinnacle of error coin collecting, a perfect balance of rarity, visual intrigue, and historical resonance. Beyond the physical attributes, the coin's astronomical value also reflects the psychology of collecting. People are fascinated by rarity because it connects them to something truly irreplaceable. When only one or two coins exist with certain features, their value becomes symbolic as well as monetary. The 1951 wheat penny valued at $444 million is a testament to how human curiosity and passion for perfection can transform the most ordinary object into something extraordinary. There's also the possibility that some of these high-value coins were test strikes or experimental issues that accidentally entered circulation. The U.S. Mint has a long history of experimentation with different metal alloys, dyes, and striking pressures, and on rare occasions, test pieces mistakenly escape into public hands. Such errors are almost mythical, but when proven authentic, they command jaw-dropping prices. Imagine owning a coin that wasn't even meant to exist. That's the ultimate numismatic fantasy. Over the years, the 1951 wheat penny has become more than just a collectible. It has become a legend, a symbol of hidden fortune, and a reminder that extraordinary value can hide within the most ordinary things. Some collectors even believe that undiscovered varieties still exist, waiting to be found in coin jars, old albums, or forgotten boxes in attics. The dream of stumbling upon a $444 million treasure keeps the passion alive, inspiring both veteran numismatists and curious beginners. So next time you come across a 1951 penny, take a closer look, check the mint mark, inspect the date for doubling, notice the color, weight, and texture. What seems like just another old coin might actually be one of history's greatest minting marvels. The incredible story of the 1951 wheat penny teaches us that every coin tells a story, every mistake can become a masterpiece, and every tiny detail can turn into a fortune beyond comprehension. In a world obsessed with technology and instant gratification, there's something profoundly poetic about a small copper coin. Last 1944 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures hiding in plain sight, and today we're uncovering the astonishing story of the 1944 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and historians alike with its jaw-dropping value of $441 million. An unimaginable sum for such a small copper coin that was once casually spent on candy or gum, but now stands as a symbol of how tiny minting mistakes and rare production quirks can turn a common coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. The story of the 1944 wheat penny is one of mystery, error, and incredible luck, because while millions of these coins were minted after World War II, only a handful were struck with unique defects that make them some of the most valuable coins on the planet, driving collectors into a frenzy of bidding wars and speculation as they chase the elusive dream of finding one in their own collection. The first thing that makes the 1944 wheat penny so intriguing is its timing. It was produced just after the chaos of World War II when the U.S. Mint was transitioning back to using copper after briefly switching to steel in 1943 to conserve metal for the war effort. In that transitional process, some leftover steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally mixed with the copper blanks used in 1944, leading to the creation of the famous 1944 steel penny, an extraordinary minting error that caused an uproar in the numismatic world. These rare transitional error coins are a product of both human oversight and mechanical circumstance, a blend that makes them not only historically fascinating but astronomically valuable. While regular 1944 copper wheat pennies are common and worth a few cents to a few dollars depending on condition, those rare 1944 steel cents, especially with the S or D mint marks, have fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars at auctions, and the most pristine, verified examples are rumored to be insured or valued at staggering sums like the now legendary $441 million piece that we're talking about today. It's important to understand that what makes this specific coin so valuable isn't just its rarity but also its combination of multiple minting errors, including off-center strikes, double dies, planchet anomalies, and mismatched materials that create a one-of-a-kind collectible impossible to replicate. Imagine a coin struck on a leftover 1943 zinc-coated steel planchet with a faint 1944 date impression, combined with a visible doubling in the Liberty inscription or the famous motto, "In God We Trust," and perhaps even minor lamination cracks or clipped planchet edges. Each of these characteristics increases its uniqueness and, therefore, its worth in the eyes of elite collectors who are always searching for pieces that defy the odds. Some reports and collector rumors even suggest that certain 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on foreign bronze planchets intended for other countries like Belgium or the Netherlands, which the U.S. Mint was producing coins for during that era, leading to even more exotic varieties that are exceptionally hard to authenticate but worth fortunes if verified. The blend of history, error, and accident makes these coins like time capsules of American industrial history, forged during a moment when the mint was under pressure to keep up with post-war demand and thus more prone to mistakes that would later make these small objects legendary. The coin community has debated for decades about how many genuine 1944 steel pennies actually exist, with estimates ranging from a dozen to perhaps 24 confirmed examples, each with slight variations in composition, weight, and die marks, but the specimen that's now said to be worth $441 million stands out due to a perfect storm of rarity, condition, provenance, and verified minting anomalies that make it essentially irreplaceable. It's believed to be a San Francisco minted 1944 wheat penny that not only was struck on the wrong metal but also displays a mirror-like proof finish despite being from a business strike die, a mystery that continues to baffle experts who have examined it. Some speculate that it might have been a test strike, or perhaps a presentation piece accidentally released into circulation, only to be rediscovered decades later by an unsuspecting collector going through an old jar of coins. The idea that a penny once handled casually by a citizen could one day be valued at $441 million is not just mind-blowing, it's a testament to how the smallest details can rewrite history and redefine value. For numismatists, these errors represent the perfect blend of human imperfection and mechanical unpredictability, the exact combination that gives birth to legends. The 1944 wheat penny's journey from pocket change to multi-million-dollar icon is built upon the passion and persistence of coin hunters who have spent years studying mint marks, die cracks, planchet compositions, and the smallest engraving inconsistencies. Every error tells a story. A double die reveals that the coin was struck twice by misalignment. A clipped planchet shows that the blank metal disc was improperly cut before being fed into the press. A repunched mint mark means the engraver had to manually correct a misaligned stamp, and a transitional metal error hints at confusion during the switch between steel and copper production. All these possible defects combined into a single specimen create an irresistible magnet for collectors and investors who know that coins like these are not just currency, they're tangible pieces of art, history, and chance. Beyond its physical attributes, the mythos of the 1944 wheat penny adds to its immense value. Every time such a coin is rumored to surface, news spreads across the coin collecting community like wildfire, and speculation drives prices even higher. Some claim that wealthy collectors and museums compete privately for ownership, with bids reaching into the hundreds of millions, especially when a coin comes with verified documentation from major grading authorities like PCGS or NGC confirming its authenticity. The coin's extraordinary value also stems from its perfect combination of cultural nostalgia and scarcity. After all, the wheat penny represents an era of American simplicity and resilience, while the errors embedded in it symbolize the imperfections that make history human. When you hold one, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a frozen moment from 1944, a year when the world was rebuilding, technology was shifting, and mistakes were easily overlooked yet now are worth fortunes. Some experts theorize that even more rare variants could exist undiscovered, tucked away in old jars, bank rolls, or forgotten drawers across America, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to spot that telltale silvery shine of a steel penny with a 1944 date or the slight doubling of a letter that transforms it from ordinary to extraordinary. The fascination around such finds has fueled countless YouTube channels, blogs, and collector events, where enthusiasts share their discoveries, magnifying errors under microscopes and comparing weights to pinpoint which coins are true anomalies. As unlikely as it sounds, there's always a chance that a lucky individual could stumble upon such a treasure in circulation, though the odds are astronomical, which only adds to the mystique and excitement surrounding it. The 1944 wheat penny's rise to a value of $441 million isn't just a story about money, it's about history, craftsmanship, luck, and the relentless human desire to uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary. It's about how a small oversight by a mint worker in the 1940s can ripple across decades, transforming a simple cent into a priceless artifact. And as long as people continue to collect, study, and treasure these pieces of history, the legend of the 1944 wheat penny will keep growing, inspiring new generations of treasure hunters to check their change and wonder what secrets lie hidden in the coins they hold. So when you hear that a 1944 wheat penny costs $441 million, remember that it's not just the metal or the mint mark that makes it valuable, it's the story behind it, the human errors, the industrial transitions, and the sheer improbability of its existence that give it value beyond measure. It reminds us that history often hides in the smallest things, and sometimes, a penny truly can be worth a fortune.